Hello everybody, this is the Coolie Runner, and this video is again going to be a plant video, but it's going to be a little bit different because we're going to be talking about this cycas, which despite the YouTube name Coolie Runner, is not actually from the coolies. This is a tropical plant that can be considered a living fossil because they haven't changed for something about like 250 million years or something like that. Partly the reason why I like it. And I thought that this would be a nice video to make because at this time you can see that it is shedding its old leaves. And when these grew in many years ago, I took a time lapse with my GoPro because that was when I first got my GoPro. So this is just kind of a natural cycle for the cycas, is it'll grow every couple of years and then eventually it sheds these like in the spring right now. So I'm gonna trim these, and if you have a cycas and it does this, don't worry, that's just part of the cycle. And soon there should be a video of new palms growing from the middle. So keep an eye out for that. So cycads like these are commonly called sago palms, and despite their fern-looking appearance on their leaves, they're not particularly related to ferns. Cycads belong in the family called gymnosperms, which include stuff like palm trees, ginkgo trees, which are also a living fossil, and pine trees and that kind of coniferous plants. And what makes those different, besides their genetics, is that they produce seeds with no fruit. So if you think about stuff like a flower or like fruit trees, they have seeds with fruit. If you think about a true fern, those do not have pollens, those do not have seeds. They use their spores, and they have a mix between what's called a haploid and a diploid life cycle. These ones, like humans, only exist in the diploid version. So inside the codex, around the seeds, there is a edible starchy part there. So if you ever find these, let's say you're in the wild and getting a little hungry, you could potentially eat the inside kind of around the seeds, but be very careful because the rest of this plant is toxic and it will kill you if it doesn't stab you first. I've been stabbed many times by these leaves, but now it's time to say goodbye. All right, here we go. Now this actually had 5 leaves on it. There were 2 more growing out here. I cut those off before, and then I realized I wanted to make a video on it. So here we go. The first growth when I first had this plant so many years ago. As you can see on the inside, those are completely dried up. Even when they were greener, I cut the other ones when they had quite a bit of green, and their stems were still completely dried up. Now when you cut these, you want to make sure to cut close to the base because otherwise it looks kind of ugly. And you do actually need to cut them off because they'll die and they don't really naturally fall off that well. So you'll just have a plant with a million dead spiky things. So don't be afraid to trim them off. There we go. That's the first generation that grew in my house, and hopefully sometime soon there will be another generation growing out of here. So now you can see what these guys look like when they're little baby leaves growing out of the plant, and the circle of life continues. The interesting thing about these dead leaves is that they are extremely flammable. That is in part due to how kind of spongy they are when they're dead, so many little holes. And there's so many curling and overlapping parts that it gives it a lot of surface area. So if you ever want to make a fire, if you're ever trying to make a fire and you find some dead cycas leaves, this is going to be really good kindling. So as soon as you get a flame to this, it won't light on a spark, but if you have the flame and you get it on, this whole thing will just blow right up. And you'll have a really good start to your fire. Bye. Thank you for watching.